Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in to the 143, episode 123. We're coming at you live. Nick, how are we doing today?
We're doing good. It's a good day to be a good, time to be a Dallas sports fan overall.
Amen.
Both the Stars and the Mavs will be in the Western Conference Finals. By the time this episode airs, I believe both teams will have played their first game.
Actually, I think don't the Stars start on Thursday?
I thought that was Tuesday. Maybe I read that wrong, actually.
I think it's Thursday because, I think it's Thursday.
It is Thursday. Yep. I don't know why. For some reason, I thought the 23rd was on Tuesday. Never mind. Because that's right. Their opponent has yet to be determined. They have the Canucks and Oilers still have to play one more game. So we'll see about that one.
It's actually the stat of the week brought to you by Andrews Logistics. This is the first time ever that both the Mavs and the Stars have been playing in the Western Conference Finals in their respective leagues at the same time. So it is a big time for Dallas sports fans, I guess, like in the past when one of them is in this position, the other one is out. So, there is a chance that both teams make it to the championship in their leagues. And obviously that's what we're rooting for. But, after the Rangers winning the World Series, we turn around. We've got two very successful playoff teams right now. Obviously the Cowboys are still the Cowboys, but other than that, Dallas sports are rolling.
Yeah. It's also, this is the first time that a team in the NHL has beat the last two Stanley Cup champions in the same series. So
there you go.
Round one, they beat Vegas, who won it last year. Round two, we beat Colorado, who won it the year before that. So, that's pretty significant.
Yeah. A lot of good things in Dallas right now.
We'll just go ahead and segue off that into your player of the week. I went with Matt Duchene. He's been a huge part of this team's success. He was an off-season signing. He's been an absolute gem for the boys. He scored the game-winning, series-winning goal in Denver on Friday night to send the fellas to the Western Conference Finals. And, boy, it was a late one. It was really long one.
It was 1 in the morning here. It was 1 in the morning.
Yeah, it was 1 o'clock in the morning here. It came after a controversial call. Actually, not controversial at all. Just a straight-up horrible call. Mason Marchment scored with 8 minutes left in first OT, and the game should have been over, but then they called Matt Duchene for goalie interference, and then he turns right back around almost a full period later and ends up getting the game-winning goal. So that was a huge revenge moment for the fellas.
Let me say, and we'll probably have an episode on this at some point in the off season. Refs in sports right now are just doing an awful job.
Yeah.
I'll say it, like they're dictating games. It's just not great. And that call was atrocious. Didn't they review it and still call?
The thing is they reviewed it and they still did not overturn it. But it's like the thing is that could have been a series deciding call had say Colorado scored again after that, because the game should have been over.
Exactly.
Like that should have been it. The fellas should have been on a plane back to Dallas.
Yeah.
For preparing for the Western Conference Finals. But nonetheless, we got it done anyway. There was no denying that last one.
It's nice to send the last two champs home, and hoping that the Mavs also keep it rolling. They're playing a very hot Timberwolves team. A lot of people have already given Anthony Edwards of the Timberwolves his Michael Jordan status, which is interesting because he's won one chip. No, he's won 0.
Oh, wait a minute. Never mind.
Yeah, not even.
That was Jordan
that actually. So I don't know why we're comparing. He went 6 for 24 tonight against the Nuggets. I'm just saying, we're not here to talk about basketball, but you can't call it. We've talked about this before, and we'll probably talk about it in a couple weeks, actually, with the GOAT debate episode. But you're not Jordan until you match Jordan's rings. And
you're not even close. You got a mountain to climb there, fella.
Yeah. But let's get into the real reason we're here today. The NFL, all the teams release their schedules in very creative and interesting ways. But the bottom line is we know the schedule, we know the games. for the NFL season. And as we've said before, we are a mainly NFL podcast. So this is something that we're excited for. And also, dude, let me say, the schedulers did a phenomenal job this year. We have a lot of amazing games. Okay. Last year, the primetime games were awful. And this year,
That was the first thing I was going to say. Yeah.
this year, as long as the quarterbacks stay healthy, most of them should have some pretty good primetime games for everyone. Nick, is there any games that you want to start out by just highlighting?
I think honestly, the very first primetime game is going to be. It should be a good one. Thursday, the first Thursday night game between Baltimore and Kansas City. Kick off the season hopefully with a banger. You got Patty Mahomes versus Lamar Jackson. That'll be a rematch from last year. So there's going to be some bad blood there between those two teams. But that was the main thing I was going to point out about the schedule is I thought, okay, obviously looking at these primetime games, should everyone stay healthy and play the way they're supposed to be, should be phenomenal games. But I'm excited for that very first one. It'll be a great way to kick off the season, get back into
I think it'll be a great way as well. Dude, I also think the reason that the schedulers did a great job is what I was talking about. Revenge games are all over the place. I mean, week 2, we have Russ visiting Denver to play the Broncos, who did him absolutely dirty with his contract and kicking him off the team. Can't wait to see that game. We've got Kirk and the Falcons going back to Minnesota a lot later in the year. But you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of those games where the players get an opportunity for revenge. And then we've got like the one you just said where teams get an opportunity to avenge their big losses in the playoffs. One big one really cool one. Now I think this game will be pretty one-sided. Week 12, they're calling it the Harbaugh Bowl. It's a Monday Night Football, Ravens at Chargers. The Harbaugh boys, John and Jim, going at it head-to-head on Monday Night Football. I think that'll be a really good one.
That'll be cool to see a brother v. brother matchup. Yeah, obviously,
I think the Ravens will kill the Chargers.
The Ravens are a little bit further along in their program, in their process than the Chargers are. The Chargers are rebuilding, and they're pretty much at level 1 right now.
But anything could happen.
Anything could happen. By week 12, they could have it figured out. They could have the system that's going to work.
Am I a Lamar hater? Absolutely. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Lamar's going to win that game because he doesn't always win the games he's supposed to win. I will say I noticed Cowboys-Texans got a Monday night slot. I think they did that on purpose. I think there's a lot of debate right now on who the best team in Texas is. I don't think it's close. I think it's the Texans, but we got Cowboys and Texans. I'm sure we'll be there to maybe get embarrassed on Monday Night Football. But here's what I'm going to say about the Cowboys. We've got some good games. We've got Cowboys-Steelers. I mean, dude, that's historic. Things like that.
We got the 49ers again.
Of course. Can we live up to the challenge this year? We didn't do anything, no. And we'll have an episode about that here pretty soon as well. But we
if
really
we're going in
anything.
With the same team, why would I expect anything different? That just doesn't make sense.
Hey, we signed Zeke though.
Like we sat here and didn't do anything, so you're gonna expect me to be excited about what? We did nothing.
I agree.
I don't get him.
I'm with you. I'm not impressed. Week 1, Monday Night Football. So, okay, obviously Monday Night Football's got a lot of good games. Jets, 49ers. The league. So what ruined prime time last year was Aaron Rodgers getting hurt in his first 40 seconds of playing time. And the league, they weren't happy about that because you know what they said? Hey, Aaron, welcome back. You're playing the best defense in football game 1. Hope you don't get hurt.
Yeah.
That's what they said. And he deserves every bit of it.
Well. He's been speeding along the recovery process.
And he's bragged about it the whole time.
We don't even know if he's good on the Jets, so they could very well be awful still. But
which I hope. I hope they are because
I personally wouldn't mind.
Last year, he tried to take all the attention off of his team and the NFL and just talk about him and his recovery. Oh, Aaron Rodgers could come back if the Jets make the playoffs. Dude, nobody thought the Jets were making the playoffs, especially without Aaron Rodgers. So
they wrote off the season right after Aaron Rodgers got hurt. It was like, oh, it's going to be the same old thing it has been.
Nice little revenge game as well. Lions Niners week 16 in the year. That game will have a lot of playoff implications, and obviously the Niners knocked the Lions out on their way to the Super Bowl. So I think that'll be a good one as well.
I agree. Lions, they had a good season last year. I think a lot of people will be excited to see if, or at least this is what I'm excited about, to see if it was a one-year fluke or if they truly have built a winning culture. You know, Dan Campbell, he's come in and they were pretty bad at first, but he made it clear that it's going to be a process before they really find success, and that he's just got to build that winning culture. And so I'm excited to see if maybe, you know, they can continue the success. Obviously, got to get excited about something because it ain't going to be the Cowboys, unfortunately.
I agree, dude. So kind of shifting to who has the hardest schedules this year. With no surprise, the teams with the hardest schedules, number one, Pittsburgh Steelers, Patriots, and then Browns and Ravens and Vikings. So the Steelers, Browns, and Ravens are all in the same division. Like when you're in the AFC North, your division is going to be tough.
It's
the
pretty
Steelers have the hardest division or have the hardest schedule because all 6 of their divisional games come after like week 11.
So it's just boom, 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 boom.
Yeah. So they just get, I mean, it's bad here. Let me tell you the Steelers schedule here,
because we've been talking. I think we've talked about it before that the AFC North might be
it's the hardest division.
Might be the hardest division. I think it's safe to say that.
Yeah, absolutely. And so with the Steelers, they start off Falcons, Broncos, Chargers, Colts, Cowboys, Raiders, Jets, Giants, Commanders. All right, that's not that bad, right? I mean, you know, there's a few teams like us who will give them a run for their money, but for the most part, maybe the Colts. But other than that, they should have a winning record through those first few games. Okay? Then you've got Ravens, Browns, Bengals, Browns. That's just 4 games back to back to back. That's 4 division games against 4 very tough opponents.
Ravens,
4 straight weeks.
Wow.
You could like go 0 for 4 in those. Then you've got the Eagles, who I don't like to say it, but the Eagles look pretty good on paper right now. So that's not a easy game. That's in Philly. Never fun to play in Philly, as we know. Then you've got Ravens, Chiefs, Bengals to finish the season. So here's what we got: Ravens, Browns, Bengals, Browns, Eagles, Ravens, Chiefs, Bengals. That's how they finish their season.
That'll be interesting to see, because what could very well happen is for those first 11 weeks, they could be like 8. I don't want to say 8-3, but like they could be like maybe 7-4 ish or something like that after the first 11 weeks. And so, you know, all the Steelers fans are going to get super hyped, be like, oh yeah, we're back, baby. And then they'll just get hammered the last 6 weeks of the season.
Ryan Clark came out and said, like, dude, somebody in the NFL office has to be a Browns fan or something, just like giving us all the, like, you know, it looks very like they're the only schedule who really has that.
That is kind of true, because they get all 6 of their division games. Like,
yeah. And with no surprise, shifting like to the easiest schedules, Falcons, Saints, Panthers, they're kind of atop the list because
because they get to play 2 of the twice a year.
So that's kind of how like the hardest and easiest schedules are determined. It's like if your division's easy, you're going to have an easier schedule. We're in the middle of the pack right now because obviously our division consists of 2 pretty good teams and then 2 pretty bad teams. So,
because the Giants, the Eagles have been good recently. The Commanders, they've been making a lot of moves just the last couple of years trying to get something done.
Yeah,
I don't think they'll be really anything special this year. I do think they might be a little bit better.
They should be a little bit.
We'll see. I mean, they could give us a run for their money very well. It's not like we have plans on doing anything anytime soon.
No, we don't. But the schedule's looking good. Like the games are looking good. I mean, this schedule looks better than last year's schedule. There's 6 international games. I mean, it should be interesting.
Which last year we did nothing but complain about primetime games, and But I think
yeah,
we had very well may have complained about every single primetime game after
we
every
probably
single week.
did. Well, they were
But
awful, but
looking at it like 4 or 5 months out, whatever it is, 3 months, whatever, however far out we are from the schedule, I'm
pleased.
content. I'm
Yeah,
content with the primetime schedule that we have. Should
I
be a
am as
good
well.
season.
I am as well. And you know what? If they do stink, we will let you know because that's something we've
We
always
let you
been
know
good at.
anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think looking at this schedule, it gives me like excitement to be able, we're going to come out every week and be able to talk about some good games. Hopefully, that's the goal.
So, who's like to end our shows on under review? I brought you a quote from the Michael Jordan, the GOAT,
The
undisputed.
actual goat. We'll talk about that.
He
in a
said,
week.
"I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed." And that's the truth.
Exactly. And you can take it from him because he knows what he's talking about. Fail like Michael Jordan, people.
Fail like Michael Jordan, be 6-0 in the finals.
Didn't sound like much failure in the finals to me. Did he fail at all in the finals? Oh, no, he didn't. He always won the finals. Interesting.
I don't know.
That's a little sneak peek. 3 weeks from now, we'll be coming out with a GOAT debate episode where we silence the debaters again. Thank y'all for tuning in this week, and we will see you next week with another episode of